There are some cultural aspects, and that's what I loved about it. Like internally, they're sitting there talking amongst each other, especially when they're at the tables and they're just kind of staring at the other team and shit.
Isn't that the real life version of table talk? You know, the way they were doing table talk and how each team, and that's why I feel like the editing is. I would love to hear the raw conversation because there's so much of that speaks to culture about how, because you get to speak in your own insular group without the other team really knowing. You get to size them up.
Yep.
Are you respectful of them? Are you shit talking them? Are you so confident we're going to squish them? Are you strategizing? All those things sort of speak to perhaps the culture. And I know that the 6 people sitting at the table don't represent
all
the whole culture, but there are some dynamics within language too that are on display that you can see with language and mannerisms and those things. Those little cultural things play out. And but if anything, it's the cultural ethos. I would say the cultural ethos plays so much in this show because not just because they get to maintain their language, work together as a team, think together. You can tell that each team has a distinct cultural ethos for how they work as a group, strategize, and then execute things, execute a mission. And the shipwreck demonstrated how there may be multiple ways to win too. Because the gamesmanship is what we always loved about physical series, is that the way they create the games. What is the best strategy to win? It's not always about brute force. And so now you kick it up on another level where it's not just a team of people of one guy's big, one guy's small, one's a girl, one's really tall. So who's going to win? It's now your whole cultural ethos plays into how you're going to come together and defend this.
Yeah.
You know, and
you hit it on the nose.
And so that's what's so fascinating about this series that you wouldn't expect, and the physical aspect and the challenges and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah. The contrasting and the compliment when they go from the internal talks as a team and the culture aspect of it. And then you put that on full display when it comes to the actual physical event. And now they're actually applying everything in the most physical form, competing against each other. Like I found it so interesting. Like for me, South Korea has always been so interesting to me because it's like, even when they were on the first event, well, we'll talk about the first event, right? When they had all the platforms, they were the first ones that actually closed in and said, let's all like hunker
Link
down.
arms, yeah.
Let's link arms and hunker down. And like all the other teams are just kind of defending or pushing each other and everything. And then Thailand comes in and they're like, no, we're just going to hold off to the very end. You know, like our strategy is we're going to hold off and we're going to do that.
The worst was
whatever their train.
Philippines.
No, the train was the
Philippines. Yeah, the Philippines.
Was the train.
They did the train.
That's right.
thing.
That's right. Yeah. So the Philippines, because they related that train thing or whatever, and that was their time, their
Kinda
plan.
smart, though.
Yeah,
It is, but
like I don't want to use. Let's not
Yeah.
use all of our energy fighting
Yeah.
anyone. Let's save it to the last 10 seconds and
Pretty
then
much, yeah.
barge in or whatever on the teams that were fighting each other because they're going to be exhausted and tired. So maybe we can get in at
You
the
only can
last
do that so
second.
many times, though.
Yeah. But before then, like all the teams were just kind of scattered, throwing each other. And then obviously Australia, no one even challenged them in that first round. But then it was like, you know, while all that was happening, Korea was like the first one to say, let's like tighten up and hunker down. And it brought a different aspect of the entire thing. Now it became a strategical thing. And then all of a sudden, that's what made all the other teams really start to think more, no, let's just not bash each other and move each other off platforms.
We need
let's
to
actually strategize a real plan. And that's when it started leading into like, you know, all right, you take this person, you take that person out. And they even
that's when Japanese and Korea were battling each other forever.
And that in itself was epic. That was probably like,
remember the big guy from Korea versus the small Japanese guy?
Yeah, which was so
that's
interesting. That little Japanese guy was able to take out the entire big guy on his own and hold him down, which was that in itself was really great. And then the battle that just went on and on, it was like as if it was a real war, just this relentless. They just either side could not give up.
Yeah. And the rounds just kept going
on and on and on
to the point where you suspect the judges had to come up with something on the fly.
Yeah,
On the fly.
exactly.
Like they just had to make it up
because neither side would give up.
Yep.
Just as if it was a real war of some kind. And then for me, like I literally like had like the tingles, you know, when they had that final battle and all of them got eliminated, and it was just the two girls, and they just stood up and stared right at each other. I was like, oh man, it's all come down to this. Like it was like this hard fought battle for so many rounds has now come down to this single point right here, which was just in itself, it felt like that was like real battle, that comes down literally just to now these two people, and the way that they faced each other and looked each other eye to eye was just,
they just knew what's up.
yeah, that
They
for
have
me
their whole
shook me.
country. They have their team on their backs.
Yep.
It's just,
That's
the
when I
only
wrote.
thing-
That's when I texted you guys real quick, and I was like, "God damn, this is good. This is too good."
That's when I knew that the ending credits were coming up because of this. Like, they can't give it to us right away.
They have a tank. This is their tank, their leader. They don't really have a tank. And
They don't.
yeah, so and even their tank in Thailand here is not that big too. So yeah. And so I went back into this. Their cumulative weight is 987. They pushed 4,000 pounds in pounds. This is your pound for pound ranking right here.
Damn.
They're actually number one, meaning
pound for pound.
with their pound cumulative and how many pounds they brought over, they brought 4.06 times their own weight. And while they were doing the whole thing, I kept thinking, like, this is how when you conceive of Japan at war with America, World War II, America has the big bombers, but you see all these like Japanese people just hustling in these islands, going through their tunnels.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I saw them, like
Pound for
carrying
pound,
the
yeah.
things. They're pound for pound. Japan puts out so much, the tenacity, the resolve, the tunnel system. It's like watching
Japan strong.
watching like Letters of Iwo Jima, just that cultural aspect spills through even this, because when they were doing it, and they had the lead too. I remember they had the lead at that halfway mark.
Mhm.
So I was like, dang, because Australia was the one that called them out. Australia is the heaviest team
Yeah.
by a pretty good amount. They're only 3.64 their own pound for pound in the weight of sand category,
Yeah.
So Japan actually ranks number one in the pound for pound, how much they actually brought over, because they don't have these big guys. And
Yeah.
that's so reminiscent of that World War II battle scene. You were fighting American soldiers with bigger guns and everything, but Japan like almost beat them, and so yeah. And then
The
there's some-
Philippines. It was the Philippines. It was too disappointing. Their tank. Just, you couldn't take it no more.
I was gonna say,
Can't blame them, man.
so in every matchup,
But there was the strategy that they were doing. It was wrong.
so in every matchup, you'll see. Let me do this real quick.
Yeah, Philippines, they have the weakest tank though. That's what happens.
That would have been me too, though. So in every scenario, I hypothesize that the heavier team would always win. Only one case that didn't happen. It's when the Philippines, the heavier team than Mongolia, lost. Or Philippines, the heavier team, lost to Mongolia.
Yeah.
And they lost by a good amount too, because of that liability, the big guy but that's where it comes into, you're not coming here for brute force and strength. This is a world strongest man. You're coming here for, like, you gotta work smart too. It just wasn't efficient that I'm the big guy, so I'll just drag these big things over. And he burned all his energy doing it. It just wasn't efficient. You have to be strategic and all that. And so that's what he did. He just burned all his energy on these first few crates.
Yeah.
And so that matters too.
Strategy is a key component. It's super duper important. And a lot of them just jumped into it thinking, no, we can just take this. We just take this.
Yeah.
And they did burn themselves out.
There's
But
just-
it also showed Philippines, Manny Pacquiao's heart. I mean, he's an old man. He's not super duper strong like everyone else. He's not as fast. But the guy has heart, man. That guy
has
just
leadership
would not give
capabilities.
up. He was going back and forth with those sandbags, just could not stop. Just kept going and
Yeah.
kept carrying.
But I could tell the disappointment in his face when he saw his tank sitting up there. He's like, we lost. Why am I even doing this? All right. I'm just going to keep going.
And his tank's like not just going slow. He's literally sitting there just.
Hey,
They just reassigned his job. They just throw us the bags. Just throw us bags.
that was only his second box, right? Like he was already, but he's trying to do it all by himself and carrying it like this. That's the wrong way. to
There's
do
a
it.
big part of the pride too. When you feel like we're the strongest, let me just go into this brute force. That's what happens too.
Yeah.
So
Backfires.
yeah, that backfires. Some big competitors or strong competitors in the past have lost because of that, and that's what I love too. There's a cultural aspect of the pride. Are we big and macho? I mean, it says something when Australia, no one tested them in the territory game, and they're like, yeah,
Because they were the biggest.
we're
Yeah.
strong. They're the biggest. Look, they're heavier than everybody. And then, Turkey challenges them, and everybody thinks they're
Yeah,
going to get
but
wiped
it was
out.
the chick. That's why.
I know, but still, it's
But
like,
Turkey's smart like that, though.
because everybody's working together and they're coordinated. because I thought for sure Australia would have the upper hand. They're fresh. They're not doing anything. But I guess it gives you an upper hand to go through the battle and know what to do and what not to do. And that's why they had the coordinated people who would stand on the outside. And I just can't believe they did that over and over again. It's just like the endurance to go through all that.
No, man. That's the one question I always ask when I watch these things is like, aren't they already tired from the first time they just went through it? Now they're just constantly going through it over and over. I would be exhausted to the point where it's just like, I can't do this anymore, you know?
But you can't let your team down.
I know, but that was keep going. It's so grueling.
That was the Korea and Japan battle between those two that just kept going and going. And which also made me kind of reflect. It's kind of like Australia, the team of the white team, got it nice and easy. Got the advantages, the bigger the sizes, everything's in their favor. Yeah. But then, the Korea and Japan, they never have an easy route to winning. They got to go the hardest route. They got to
destroy themselves first.
Forever. This is what would happen in real life,
these representative of what's going on in the real struggle here.
Real struggle. Just the Korea and Japan, they duked it out to the point where the judge was like, well, all right, we got to make some new rules.
Got to figure it out.
We'll do this. But it was still an epic showdown, It just kind of, everything was just reflective of how things were. That's kind of how I saw it.
There's that meta narrative written throughout, because when these countries go at it, you can't help but feel some of that stuff reverberate.